My dear students, once again I welcome you all in your history online class after the syllabus break. So in today's online class we will focus on your chapter number 8, talking about the Delhi Sultanate from the year of 1206 till 1526 CE. So first of all we talk that how under Delhi Sultanate there stood 5 kingdoms: Slave dynasty or Mamluk dynasty, followed by Khalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, and finally talking about the Lodi dynasty. So overall all these 5 dynasties or empires, they were able to keep their root in India for nearly 320 years from 1206 till 1526. Talking about the literary sources or the archaeological sources, which comes under the sources which gives lot of information, lots of knowledge regarding the kingdom, empire, as well as the writers, authors, different kinds of language that was used, what was the most popular era that stood in those respective years, all that are been focused. And first we will see with literary sources. So under the literary sources we talk about Tarikh-i-Firoz Shahi, which was mainly written by Ziauddin Barani, talking about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So many of the historians, they say that Muhammad bin Tughlaq was a mad king, but at the other hand, historians even they say that he was a very intelligent, very knowledgeable king, as he possessed lots of knowledge, lots of information from all the respective science subject. But ultimately his 3 experiments, token currency, taxation of dove region, and transfer of capital from Delhi to Devagiri, these 3 experiments ruined his life and made a full stop on his career, and he also died after a couple of years. Next we talk about Tabaqat-i-Nasiri. So this was also a great work written by Minhaj-us-Siraj, who mainly talks about Mongol invasion under the leader or chief known as Genghis Khan, where he stood as one of the great leader, and because of Genghis Khan and his whole unit or forces, many of the kings they had to take lots of severe actions against Genghis Khan and his forces. And Alauddin Khalji, as he stood as a nephew as well as son-in-law of Jalaluddin Khalji, he was the first king in India to establish a permanent standing army, followed by Dag as well as Chehra, branding of horses, as well as talking about how to give an identity card to all the soldiers or armies, those who take care of those horses. So that is been written under this Tabaqat-i-Nasiri. So next we focus on the archaeological sources. So under the archaeological sources mainly we talk about monuments, coins, inscriptions, and lots of valuable topic which gives lots of information to us. First talking about monuments. So under the monuments we talk about Qutub Minar, which was actually started to erect by Qutbuddin Aibak, as he stood as the main founder of the slave or Mamluk dynasty, but he died in 1210 and he was not able to complete. Second we talk about Alai Darwaza, that was also one of the great monument during those time, talking about Kuwait-ul-Islam, and talking about the coins. So under the coins what we see mainly about the kings, their weapons, either sword, bow and arrow, or spear, or even talking about their figure, their pose, how it was been kept under in a statue form, in a printed in a coin. And next talking about the inscription. So under the inscription also we get lots of valuable knowledge regarding like kings, the administration policies, talking about the expeditions, how they conquer different vast areas, what kind of innovative ways they had to take, proper armies, well trained, well equipped weapons, and all those information also we get from the archaeological sources. So overall if we talk about the literary or the archaeological sources, both the sources in the other hand or in some way gives lots of valuable knowledge as well as information to us regarding what kind of king that they stood, what were the policies, what kind of department that they set up during those era as they became king during those time. Everything we get knowledge in detail. Next we talk about the founders of Delhi Sultanate. So I have already told you that there were 5 dynasties that stood under Delhi Sultanate from the year of 1206 till 1526. So Under the slave or the Mamluk dynasty, Qutbuddin Aibak, he was the main founder. Under Khalji dynasty, Jalaluddin Khalji was the founder. Under this Tughlaq dynasty, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was the founder. Under Said dynasty, Khizr Khan was the founder. And last, talking about the Lodi dynasty, Bahlul Lodi was the main founder. So all these great founders made a lot of impact, made a lot of significant possible ways in order to make their kingdoms to a very high level with all innovative ways, policies, departments, and making the empire very strong as well as powerful, and staying away from those kinds of rivals or enemies. And the last topic for today's class, that is known as the main monument, that is also been given by a council, that is talking about the Qutub Minar. So Qutub Minar as it stood as one of the great monument, and it was first started to erect, to make a good impact on the society during those era was Qutbuddin Aibak. But he died in the year of 1210 C, and he was not able to complete, but later on it was been completed by his son-in-law known as Samsuddin Iltutmish, and lots of material were used in order to make a formation of this Qutub Minar. Like if you talk about the materials, over this Qutub Minar tower, red sandstone was used, white marble also was used. There were five storied. Under there also we talk about the galleries, there were verandas, there were balconies. So all this well structured with a good engineering was been done during those era, and finally it was been completed in the year of 1320 CE. So how to enhance the beauty of slave or the Mamluk dynasty, giving a particular remarkable era for all the people, those who could see how the Qutub Minar was formed, for how many years it took that the Qutub Minar was actually erected during those time, and overall we see the concluding part over this topic. I hope you have understood for today's class, talking about Delhi Sultanate and the sources and the main founders and total number of years, that is 320 years, to put a full stop on these 5 dynasties under the Delhi Sultanate. Till then, stay safe, thank you and God bless.